Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse podcast brought to you by CATS Consultants, helping doctors keep their pulse on success. I'm one of our hosts, Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined with our other host, Dr. Troy Fox. Hello, Dr. Fox.
Hello, hello. So what we're actually talking about today, which is another hot button topic, you can't turn on YouTube right now and not hear that the sky is falling, right? Our economy is in free fall. We're all going to die. The economy is going to come crash into the ground like the Hindenburg. And that's where we're at. We can't disagree that we've got some inflation right now. We can't disagree that it's
Correct.
possible that we could go into a recession.
Correct.
Or that we may already be heading there, depending upon who you listen to, who you talk to. Yep. Now, so here was the question of the day. The question that was asked was, hey, Dr. Fox, I heard you guys talking about buying in bulk in the practice to get today's value if there is inflation and recession. But what do we do both mind and practice-wise to stay focused on the task at hand? In other words, how do we not get Chicken Little syndrome and just sit and watch the sky falling and turn on YouTube and believe that probably we might as well just go ahead and shut the doors right now because everything is, the whole system is failing anyway. So that's really the question of the day: is beyond buying in bulk, what else can we do? So other than just being can we call ourselves preppers now?
Preppers?
I don't think we're preppers. I don't think we've bought enough stuff in bulk to be preppers. If you're buying headrest paper and paper towels and ultrasound gel in bulk, you're probably not a prepper. But so if we've made preparations,
to be a prepper, you have to buy 55-gallon drums and store them underground. And
I got you. Yeah. 55-gallon drums of ultrasound gel. That would last quite a while with for an ultrasound machine for your patients, especially if you don't use it very often.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think from a standpoint of projecting forward long-term? How do we keep our eye on the prize, or, looking at the light at the end of the tunnel? And how do we realize that it's not a train, that it really is the light at the end of the tunnel? Because we went through this before in 2008. Wasn't that yet? 2008. Yeah, it was the last time we had a pretty big downturn.
We had a little bit of one in 2001 as well. Think of it this way. These are cycles, okay? Economy goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And while from an investment standpoint, we try to play the ups and get out of the downs, in business, you got to be steadfast all the time. And are there some things you can do to hedge? Yeah, we've already discussed that on our last podcast, as you brought up, Troy. But, I think right now, you just have to stay intentional. You have to be intentional with treating your patients, being empathetic with your patients, and being that kind, caring servant's heart, if you will, for your patients. So I'm going to draw us all the way back to 911. And during 911, those first couple of weeks, especially the first couple of days of 911, a lot of us reported big increases in our practice and patient numbers because we're the profession of touch. We're the profession of care. We give out, and it's solely because we touch people. We create a healing energy, and people will flock to that during tough times. We saw this during the pandemic as well. We saw people really flocking to chiropractors who really were putting out those good, strong messages that we're here for you. And I think that same opportunity, maybe even more so, exists right now during high inflationary times, especially if we do wind up hitting a recession. What do people do in a recession? They back off, just like the pandemic. They back off. They want to go to a place of safety. So putting yourself in the marketplace as that place of safety could be a huge opportunity for doctors right now. Plus, here's the other thing, and this is another component of what really saved us and brought us up the totem pole in healthcare during the pandemic, is we create amazing value for patients. And doctors, I want you to lean forward and listen a little bit to this. Get out of the poverty complex mindset. Patients will pay for care if they find value in it. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got to learn how to present value statements to patients. And when you do that, I honestly, I think, as we see with a lot of our members, our CATS members, their practices are going up, and the economy is going down, and their practices are
Mm-hmm.
going up. And it's because they're taking the right steps to put them into position to be that kind, caring heart that people want to flock to.
Yeah, and let me give you a little pro tip right here. So this is a free tip for you guys, from a standpoint of what our clients do. And maybe you do this already. Maybe you're a phenomenal chiropractor and you're just listening to this for a little tidbit, or you're just listening to us because we're handsome men and you want to listen to us speak, but probably not. But here's what our clients do. And here's what we see success in. We see success in, have you ever heard that old garbage in, garbage out kind of thing? And yeah, it's kind of a cliche statement, sure. But I was listening to a pastor talk yesterday. And he's a motivational speaker, talks to a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And he was actually a fill-in pastor at our church. We go to a fairly large church. And so we get some pretty cool fill-in pastors sometimes. So this guy's a motivational speaker as well. And he was talking a little bit about Aristotle, and he was talking about habits, and he was talking about intent. And and I thought about that, and I thought, garbage in, garbage out. If you go to work in the morning and you have a bad attitude when you leave the house, you looked at your stock portfolio when you left, and it's down 7% over the last month or whatever, and you're bummed about that already, and you walk in, and the first thing you start talking to patients about is, man, is your stock portfolio down? How are you doing today? Is the cost of bread going up? How's the cost of gas today? Is it $6 a gallon yet? And you just negative your way through the morning with every patient that walks in there. Are you creating what I call a black cloud over your office? Yeah, you're
Right.
creating an environment where people are like, man, it's so negative in there, I don't want to go. So what I like to do is walk in and I like to talk about the positives. Man, what a beautiful day outside today.
Right.
Or, what did you and your family do this weekend? While you're adjusting them, I'm not advocating that you spend 30 minutes with every patient finding out their life story, but can you talk about a couple of positive things and draw the patient into that? Because your job while you're there is to apply that healing touch. And part of that healing touch sometimes is drawing some positivity out of that patient or projecting some positivity onto that patient. If they start talking about the high gas prices, yeah, the gas prices are a little bit higher, but I think we'll probably see some, relief down the road, and then, turn the subject or whatever. But I like to talk about the positives. I don't want to dwell. Yeah, I don't mind if people mention, a negative. Sure. I mean, there are some things in the economy right now that are kind of corner posts right now. Unfortunately, they're here to stay for a little while, but at the same time, they're not something that I have to dwell on the whole time I'm with the patient.
That's
So
right.
I think a little pro tip is, number one, feed yourself before you go into the practice that morning. Spend that time, spend that 30 minutes. And I know some of you like to fly in the door 2 minutes before it's time to see patients.
I'll do that.
But what I'd like to see you do is spend that time in the morning. Take 20 minutes for yourself, whether that is something that you're listening to on Kindle, you're listening to a motivational speaker,
Yep.
whether you're opening a devotional in the morning, whether you're maybe you're a person that sits and meditates and thinks their way through their day. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I mean, I have my routine that I like to go through in the morning. For those of you that are curious about what I like to do, I like to get up in the morning. I like to think my way through my day, so that way I can kind of clear my head.
Yep. I do.
Because otherwise, when I'm like, because I like to do a devotion in the morning, and I also like to listen to somebody that's motivational and talks about being successful, because I like to surround myself with success.
Yep.
So when I do that in the morning, I don't want to be distracted by this, because this gets in my way.
Right.
So what I'll do is get up in the morning and go through my calendar real quick and go, okay, this is critical. This is critical. This is back burner, back burner, back burner. Okay. Now let's move into me for a little while. Now I can take 20 minutes for me. And that's important. So in this economy, I think it's even more important. It's always easy when everything's easy street and you got new patients pouring into your practice and everybody wants to come in and everybody's got free money from the government or whatever they got, and they're willing to use that money and they all want to spend it on you. I mean, all of a sudden you feel like you're Apple Computer because everybody throws money at Apple, right? Because they have great products. Right. And everybody wants all these Apple products. So you're the Apple of chiropractic. Everybody's throwing money at you. Life's easy then. You don't have to do a devotional in the morning to be positive. You're going to go into your practice and it's going to be highly motivational. But I will tell you in tough times, sometimes you're the rock or the anchor for other people. So that's my pro tip. And I think that is super valuable to you guys to take that 20 minutes in the morning, clear your head, take a little time for yourself.
I think that's a great point. Napoleon Hill said, what you think about comes about. And I think we can help our patients in that way. We can help them think about good, positive things happening in their life. And even the patient that comes in and says, oh, I'm having a rotten day. You know what? I always tell my patients, you know what? If you're having a rotten day, something bad happened, guess what? You're one step closer to seeing a miracle.
That's right.
And that just brightens them up. Be ready to give them some positivity. Oh my gosh, your health is doing great. It's a beautiful day outside. Can we stop and have a prayer? If you do that kind of thing, if that's your practice style, do something to be the bright spot in their day. Because that's when they find out and label you as one of their safe spots, one of their safe zones, one of their happy places, as my wife always called it.
Yeah.
So create a happy place for your patient. That's part of creating value. If patients feel safe in a bad economy, in tough times, if they feel safe in your office, guess what? They're going to keep coming in. They're going to keep coming in. But to do that, to make that happen, you and your staff have to be fully engaged in that process and be intentional about making it happen. So I'm going to ask you a question. A little bit of a challenge. How much time do you spend with your staff talking about how can we engage with patients in that positive manner? How can we be the bright spot in their day? How can we be the safe place in their life right now? What can we do to give them that one glimmer of hope that some of them may feel during the week? How can we be that place? And I'm telling you, when you do that, you won't be able to close the door at night because your practice is going to be so full.
Dr. Perusich, you're so smart. And I'm going to highlight that real quick there.
Oh, what'd I do?
Because I never say that. No, well, you talked about staff, and here's the thing. I can be as positive as I want to. I can go in and I can listen to somebody talk about success. I can learn more about success. I can emulate what successful people do. And then I can walk into a practice with, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or even one staff member that's not as positive, not spend any time with them. I talk with the patient about positive things while I'm with them, and then they go back and maybe get a therapy, or maybe they're back doing some rehab, and they sit back there and do the negativity talk for 20 minutes.
Right.
And then basically at that point, what have I done? I've done nothing. So you have to involve your staff at that point. So it's important that you take what you learn, because sometimes you're going to be able to take what you learned for that 20 minutes by yourself, have a quick huddle with your staff and go, listen, this is what I learned this morning. We're going to have a great day today. And here's why.
Yeah.
This is what successful people do.
At the end of your huddle, do something as a team that just generates excitement. What do you do if you're on a baseball team or a basketball team right before the game starts? You all put your hands inside the huddle, and it's on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fox Chiropractic.
Oh, I thought it was you patted each other on the butt, and I'm like, you probably hadn't ought to do that. It's the high five. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's the high five sense. It's the quick cheer before you get started. Yep. That just pumps everybody up and puts them in the right frame of mind. And get there before your staff gets there, and have an opportunity to. I used to do this. I'd walk through my clinic and I would just say a small little blessing on each little area of the clinic, that we would be able to provide a great place for patients where they could not only get great outcomes, but where they felt loved as well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And if that doesn't float your boat, that's fine. But get into the energy in your practice. Make sure your staff is. If there's, I call it water cooler talk going on, and their staff comes in and everybody's talking negative or not talking at all, go get them pumped up. Put them on the right plane. That's part of your responsibility. And I wrote this down while you were talking, Troy.
Yeah.
And I said this just a minute ago. And I want everybody to write this down. Okay. If you're driving right now, don't write it down. But if you're sitting at your desk or whatever, listening to this, write this down. Be the happy place. Be the happy place. Be the happy place that everybody enjoys going to. And your practice will explode. I don't care what's going on with the economy, with gas prices, whether or not people are standing in line to buy an electric car, whatever. People want to go to the happy place right now. Be the happy place.
It sounds like we're just jabbering back and forth talking about intent and be this and be that. Motivational gurus seem like, if you really go through what they talk about, there's nothing of substance, but there is. You just have to see the substance. And that's what's interesting. What we talked about today is very basic stuff. It's stuff you can do. You don't have to spend $1 to make all this happen. These are really simple things that successful people do. They pay attention to detail, number one. Number two, they make sure that their team is ready to go, and they make sure they're ready to go. And this 6 inches right here in between your head is sometimes the difference between success and failure. And I'm not telling you that even with a good attitude, you can't fail sometimes, because I've failed at things. Sure. I've had some grandiose dreams and ideas, tried to put them into play, and
but
literally
failure is the next step to success.
I watched some of my stuff go down like the Hindenburg, and I'm like, what in the world? I had this planned out perfectly, and I was so excited to make it happen and so motivated, and it still didn't happen. But you know what? I agree with you. You're only a step away from a miracle at that point, because if you keep pushing the envelope, and I watched a deal the other night, I'm gonna kind of close with this as we talk to you guys. If you haven't watched it yet, jump on Netflix. If you're not a big what's her name, J-Lo fan, she has a show called Halftime on there. I encourage you to watch it. It's very motivational. She talks about being a Latino woman. She talks about how the whole industry kind of pigeonholed her and how she didn't give up. And I mean, there are times when she's crying in this documentary. I mean, it is very poignant and touching. But I'll tell you what, I see Jennifer Lopez in a whole different light than I saw before I watched this. Such a motivational piece to tell you that no matter what, you don't give up. I don't care how bad things are. If somebody's saying negative, nasty, dirty things about you, they pigeonholed her as a Latino woman in a certain position. I'd never realized that. And okay, here I know I'm a white middle-aged male. I get it. So I don't always, but you know what? I'm willing to learn.
Somebody who worked hard to get to where she's at.
Worked her tail off, and she took a lot of negativity. So I encourage you, for your practice sake, to watch that documentary. It's on Netflix right now. You can watch it for free if you've got Netflix, which many of us do. If you don't, find a friend. Somebody's got Netflix, and go watch it. I think it'd be a beautiful thing for you to take some notes from that and really motivate yourself in your own practice during these economic times, because things aren't always going to be easy. Right.
And, you started out this podcast talking about what's happening in politics and things right now, just in a general sense. And I think that's a great point, and maybe kind of finish here. There's a lot of negativity right now. Oh my gosh. I don't know that we've seen this much negativity ever, at least in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
But don't listen to the negativity. Turn the TV off for a while. You don't need to watch the news, because guess what? It's the same today as it was a month ago for the most part. Check in on the market every once in a while if you're involved in the market or investments, but just don't listen to the negativity. Turn on the positivity. Watch shows like Troy's talking about. Find a good motivational book. Read something from John Maxwell. I don't care what it is. Find some way to stay motivated, and then let that ooze out of every pore you have into your staff and into your patients and into your practice. And you know what? You'll wake up a year or two from now going, what do you mean we had a recession? I never saw
Right.
that.
Right.
That's how you get through those tough times. You pull, not drag, not push. You pull everybody along with you in an engaged, intentional manner.
Mm-hmm. One of the most valuable podcasts we've ever done. Hey, if they want to get a hold of us and they want to find out more about what we do and how we do it because they found this valuable, how do people get a hold of? Because right now they're going to be making an appointment with you if they do this.
Well, they can't right now because we are totally off the grid because we're no longer listening to the negativity.
That's right.
Just kidding. No, seriously, if you want to get a hold of us, all you have to do is go to our website, katzconsultants.com, Katz with a K, top right corner, schedule a consult. Click on that button up there in that top right corner. It'll take you right to my calendar. Let's talk. Just find a spot to jump on my calendar. If you can't find a spot, give us a call. Our phone number's on the website. Give us a call. Let's find a time to chat. Troy and I both, you can tell we like to talk. We just enjoy talking to doctors about what's going on in your practice. And if we can help you accomplish something, great. If not, hey, we made a new friend with each other. So you also can get a hold of Troy at katzconsultants.com. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
If you want to submit something for us to banter around and talk about, we won't use your name unless you want us to, or unless we know you really well. Just kidding. But feel free. We love getting questions from everybody. Troy gets a ton of them every week. So we try to get to as many of them as we can. You can also check us out at katzconsultants.com and come to an event, plug into our Facebook page, jump on my calendar for a 30-minute breakthrough call, whatever. Get engaged with us any way you can. We make it easy. All right.
Absolutely.
Troy, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This was awesome. So, all right, from all of us here at Katz Consultants, thanks for tuning in to today's ChiroPulse podcast, brought to you by Katz Consultants, helping doctors keep their pulse on success. So from all of us here, we'll see you next time, and stay well adjusted.